Welcome everybody back, man. We're live. Hold up, let me zoom out. Too far zoomed in there. All right, let me get stuff pulled up here, man. We got a good one. Preview: Lions Rams. We've made it. Turn this down, man. We've made it. It's a big one. This is a big one, man. I'm fired up for this matchup. We got a lot of things to talk about too because Rams been getting a lot of love, rightfully so. They deserve it. This is a good football team, but it's actually kind of more fun to just try to see things that, like, for me, is there anything that I can like take away and be like, well, hey, that's a spot maybe you can go after him a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. But the point is, we got a lot of things to talk about. We're going to give our score prediction in today's show too, so we'll get those from the chat. Also, injury report. I guess we'll just start there. As always, let me zoom out a little bit. Right before we get to too far into anything, we did get some updates today. Christian Mahogany not going to play, was not elevated, so he's out. So is Thomas Harper. But it is a positive. I would say that Mahogany's been limited all week, and then it came down to Saturday. I mean, that makes me believe that he's on pace to play next week, maybe. I don't know. I'm hopeful, but he's not playing this game. We could have KO'd back, so we'll see if he steps in and starts if he's healthy. He's been limited. He's questionable too. And then Shane Zylstra is also questionable. The only one I'm really concerned about would be Taylor Decker, and whether or not Taylor Decker plays, because he didn't practice all week. He was listed with rest by the end of the week. But him just not practicing, it always does kind of, make me feel a little uneasy. So no practice for him all week, listed as questionable. No Kirby Joseph. We know that. They said there was a setback with Kirby. He didn't say he was concerned long term, but there's a setback there. So even if it's not long term, the season is too short. So I don't know if he'll be back or not this season at this point. But that said, he's not playing this game. Neither is Branch. I'm pretty confident at safety, even without Thomas Harper, to be honest, with Daniel Thomas, Avonte Maddox, what he did last game. See how it plays out. Outside of that, I think those are the biggest ones. Kylie Freeman could be back as well. I may not forget that. And on the Rams side, there's really nothing of note here, to be honest with you. There was nobody that's actually out for the Rams that was significant that's like on their injury report. Outside of Darius Williams being available for this game, which he's been available, there's nothing really to note there. They're healthy at corner. I still think it's a weakness for that team. But that said, there's nothing really outside of that. Devontae Adams is going to play. They're gonna be good to go. They're gonna be fine. So we rolling. We know where we're at for this one. Not a lot of major changes for either side, I guess. Let me see who's in the building before we get going. Daniel's here. Happy Saturday. What's up, Daniel? Dre, what up, Dan? We are getting 6 to 10 inches here in Belmont County, Ohio. 6 to 10 inches. Is it snowing right now? Or you mean later? Yo, I hope we don't get snow like that. I hope we don't get 6 to 10. I mean, I assume we're not gonna get that, but hold up. I haven't looked at the weather. Are we going to get snow? Okay, it doesn't look like it. We're going to get snow Sunday. It's saying Sunday and Monday. All right, I guess we'll see how that plays out. Right now, oh, okay. So we avoided that one. Well, maybe. And that's Sunday and Monday. Maybe that's I don't know. I'm not good with how weather works. The point is I would like to avoid that. Stafford will quietly have an amazing stats night. Corum will be back to being the bust he is. I'd love to see him look like a bust in this game because he's looked good from what I've seen. Stafford will have to pass, go through the hands of an unnamed receiver and get an interception by random safety. That's where we're at right now. Shoot, I'll take that. Those things play out. Feeling pretty good. Forbes been balling this year. He's been balling up until the last couple of weeks. I think it's been a little shaky. I think the biggest thing that I've seen with Forbes is, we kind of touched on this at the last show. Like, I think he fits in well to how they play. He's so long. He's super athletic. So all the zone stuff they do, he covers so much ground. I think the problem becomes is, one, I feel like they've given up leverage issues, and they've given up leverage issues with motion. And I think Forbes has fallen into that category. That's kind of been the biggest thing that I think they've had problems with. And then he got isolated a little bit one-on-one. It mainly was leverage issues again because of some of their zone coverage. And Ted McMillan went to work a little bit in that Panthers game. Really over the last couple of weeks, we've seen that. But that said, he fits in really well for him, and he gives him a lot more length than what they usually have. I mean, you got Jacoby Durant, who plays opposite. He's not very big. He's had some problems this season. I really do think, though, when watching this team, as well as like they all statistically kind of, I don't know their stats top of my head, but all those cornerbacks, the way that their stats kind of align, I don't really think it shows up with how they play. Like, I don't think their guys play as well as their stat showcase. I just think they fit really well to what they're doing. And I think that they do everything around them really, really well. I think they have one of the best coverage schemes that I've seen. Not to say that it's like they throw the most at you, but they throw a lot at you. And I think they're probably one of the cleaner teams. Like, every down has something unique they can get to, and they have some of the most movement. They kind of remind me of Green Bay a little bit from that perspective. being that they still are kind of a heavy like cover 3 team, but they have so much movement where it's like safeties and cornerbacks interchange so well for this defense. Hey man, like that's tough to deal with. I'm gonna show some clips just to kind of show what I'm talking about there. It feels like it's going to be tough to deal with because there's a lot of movement that happens and it's kind of hard. And here's the other thing that they do well. I just thought of this as I'm talking because we're going to go through it. Defensive back blitzing. I hate this. I'll be honest. As a fan, I hate watching teams bring defensive backs against us, especially this season. I feel like it's been a problem. The Rams do it really well. They bring corner slot blitzes. And again, they play a lot of like lighter packages. So if you go out, like I think Tampa Bay went out 10 personnel a little bit, they'll put 6 DBs. They'll play dime against you. And when that becomes the case, they can bring it from everywhere. And that becomes an issue, I think, to deal with as well. And I've seen teams just be unable to completely pick up anything in coverage. So I don't know. I think they complement that side really well. They don't feel the games that I've went through, I haven't felt that defensive back group actually be stressed that much. It's kind of felt like, yeah, you can't really run against them. And then they get you behind the chains. And then they do some really good things like scheme-wise in terms of cranking up some pressure. And it's like, that's a lot to deal with. But ultimately, if you can isolate some stuff, you might have a chance. It's just that you got to find it. And there's every team that I've watched has struggled to find who the uncovered guy is, which in a lot of cases there are uncovered guys, So, yeah, Goff going to have to be dialed. He's going to be dialed this week. And I think what John Moran said was not sneaky, but I think it could be legit again, of at least to an extent, like depending on how heavy they lean one coverage or another, the idea of, again, just kind of taking the check down and moving on to the next play, it probably would be the move again this week. Because honestly, and again, it's similar to Dallas. I think it's similar to Kansas City. The check down a lot of times can be your explosive against these guys. I just wonder how much LA sits in that look defensively where they allow that to be the case. Because if I'm LA, I'm not doing that consistently because I just feel like that's kind of what we want to do. So as long as we have time, we're going to get to it. And that we'll take our explosives underneath. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I think I'm a couple hours southeast of you in Ohio. Belmont County is like 30 minutes from Wheeling, West Virginia. Oh, snap. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even know we bordered. Is that West Virginia? We border West Virginia. Okay. Dang, Dre. All right. Yeah. So we in two different. All right. Well, anyways, Mac, I see you, Mac. Let's jump into this, man. I got all the stats and stuff, so we can throw those on the screen. But I say we just jump right into the clips. Now, again, I know over the last times we've been showing the clips, they're not as clean, and it's like, why does it look like recording like this? Because otherwise, I get copyrighted. All right. I got copyrighted from 2020 on a video that never got posted. It wasn't even like I think it was just like a clip that I saved. And I got copyrighted yesterday. I was like 22. I hate when they do that, but they've been cracking down. It's crazy because we pay for this, but they've been cracking down on it. And when I do it like this, usually I get away with it. But if I'm more aggressive and like, let me make it look good, bam, they're on it. And it's like, all right, well, that's not good. And I don't want to risk that being even a thing. So just bear with me through this. All right. That's why it looks like it does. Maybe when the NFL lets off a little bit, lets people have some fun, it'll look a little better, but it is what it is for now. That's just where we're at. Anyways, let's jump into this, man. Let's start with this Rams offense. And then I'll go to the notes because I think this will keep it in order. We'll go Rams rushing attack, Rams passing attack, and then we'll flip it to the other side and do the exact same thing. But one thing that I have said all week about this team, or not all week, but last time we were on here was, man, the Rams rush the ball really well. And I'll actually throw up a graphic of what I mean when I say that first. I think we are owed more Tesla at this point. Man, look, I think Tesla got going a bit last game. It felt like, he wasn't big, but like it felt like he was, more involved than usual. The interesting thing will be if they get Khalif Raymond back, how does that shake things up? We know they like Khalif. Khalif has also been pretty good against the Rams historically too, so I don't know how that's going to play out. But we'll start here first. If you look at the bottom, these are some of the charts that I had for the rushing schemes and the success that they had. The little number next to it is the yardage. You could see most of their runs are pretty good. Now, you don't get as many, again, big, massive runs. I don't think they have that, between Kyron and Blake. I do think Blake is the more explosive back from the games that I've watched, but they don't really have that. What they do have is consistency. They have people movers up front, consistency. They're typically getting downhill, and schematically, they kind of lean into 3 categories, right? It's either going to be a duo run, so strong double teams. We're getting downhill using the size that we have at guard, which is massive. This is where we point to Lee McNeil. This is where I talk about playing him at DN. I think it'd be interesting. Also, I will say this. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, gave them the best. I don't know what the stat line was by the end of the game. It kind of got thrown off when Baker went out and they had that goofy pick 6. But I felt like Tampa at least pushed them more so than anybody else to this point that I've seen. And at least in recent weeks. Not all season long. But like Tampa Bay gave them a run. And we know Tampa Bay has Vita Vea. We know like they're kind of a pretty good run defense on the interior. So I don't know that, we want to throw ourselves and say that's who we are too. But I do look at it from the perspective of like, there's a chance. You got a chance to hang around with these guys because a good interior defensive line did that in Tampa Bay. So that's what I want to point out first. But that's kind of who they are at their heart. They do that, and then they do a lot of the stretch runs, which the stretch runs, I feel like a lot of times are Blake Corum's alley. Right, get off their tackle. I think they lean behind that right side a lot. And then I saw more inside zone rushing, which is kind of just extension of all of it as things went along. Again, you're seeing there's not a lot of variety to it. It's pretty straightforward. We know there's been a lot of talk about, man, they use 3 tight ends. They do use 3 tight ends, and all 3 tight ends are pretty good, and they're all kind of unique. I mean, Colby Parkinson, to me, is the biggest threat that they have at tight end. I mean, I know they drafted dude out of Oregon this last year, but to me, Colby Parkinson is the best one. I mean, he is a monster, and I'm going to show a play of him in the red zone, but he's also a great run blocker. He sustains blocks incredibly well. So they'll do that. They still will run out of some of their lighter looks as well, but I think that's kind of the biggest thing is there's not a lot of variety to it. They just push you backwards. So how well do our dudes hold up? Like it's kind of comes back to me on that, and especially against 2 deep. Like it feels like anytime someone sits back in 2 deep coverage, it's like, yeah, we're getting pushed backwards. So it's like, can we hold up at all there, or are we just going to be pushed back 10 yards? Right? Is that what it's going to turn into? And if it's that, we're in trouble. And I assume Kelvin Shepard's going to do everything he can to not let that happen. Now, what I do think Mary's well gives the Lions a good chance defensively, or an ounce of hope defensively, is that I think what you can do in coverage can sync up well to what you need to stop the run, if that makes some sense. Like I think those 2 things can actually marry pretty well for this game, and it'll give us a shot, and you'll see here when we get to the clips. So let's go to the clips now. If we play like we did against Baltimore and Dallas, we will beat anyone. I'm with you, man. I'm with you, dude. Like I think we can play with anybody, to be honest with you. Like I don't know. Even our bad games, I feel like we played with teams this year, but man, I don't know. Like, yeah, I think this is the best that I've seen. Like from a well-rounded side of things, there's just not a lot of glaring issues with the LA Rams. This is the best team that I feel like I've watched coming into a game this year. I don't think it's honestly that close. I mean, I guess Green Bay was really solid last time we saw them because they really did in that last game. I mean, they just executed in all the big spots, but like rushing, passing, pressure, like everything, I feel like they're pretty well-rounded. They can do kind of everything, and they're good in both trenches, which is tough. And their play callers are great, which is tough. But I'm with you. We got a shot. And I'll just start it off by showing, their stretch runs, their outside zones. You see the movement they create off the ball. It opens up those cutback lanes, and it's just consistency. That's the biggest thing you think of. And you see that interior. I mean, it is wall guys off. They lean behind those guards. That's Coleman Shelton get up to the next level. Their tight ends block well. And this is just what it looks like all the time against these guys. Now, there could be opportunities like this. There was an opportunity here. I kind of wish this one didn't cut off a little bit. This one had an opportunity getting upfield inside the tight end, but doesn't happen. They get outside, and it pops for a pretty nice run. That's kind of just what this is and what it looks like all the time. And, again, Blake Corum's been fantastic. He's been fantastic behind this offensive line. I think it just fits him really well in what they want to do. Goff said it's not revenge games, but he's thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, it has been a while, when they say it like, we did play in LA already once. This is the 4th time. I don't know. It doesn't feel like the same buzz to me. And I mean, just from a fan, maybe you guys feel more like I don't feel I see the graphics and stuff. Like, look at the stats. Like, it doesn't feel like it's about that. Maybe because it's playoff time. Like, if it was week 1, I feel like it'd be more buzz. But I think it's because like where you're at in the season. I tend to think it like doesn't like it's not even something that's like really in my mind much as like Goff versus like it. You know what I mean? Because like we just need this one to get into playoffs, and they're trying to do the same thing. They clinch a playoff berth with a win, so it doesn't feel like it means that much for this game. I don't know. Anyways, we'll stay with it here. Puka in their run game too. They kind of like us. They'll get the receivers involved. But I mean, look at the lane they create, man. Between that guard play right over the center, this is Steve Avila. The drive gets upfield. He's up to the second level. Again, they're trying to play 2 deep, and they're cooked. So I just thought I'd start there first. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit more. But our guys just need to show up. And I think Dan said it today. And I think the reason he said it like he said it today is because he's seeing what I just said, which is, or he said it yesterday. He said the great equalizer is like, like pound him with the run and then, play action. He said something like that. And I think it's, he's like, oh, it's just about toughness. And I think that's because you see it too. It's like, yeah, there's not a lot going on here. I mean, the Rams historically would get the receivers involved in the run game a bit, but like now, I mean, there's not a lot there. It's just they push people around all the time. So, I mean, how do we hold up? Do we give ourselves a chance? We're going to find out, but I think it's just going to be that. I think it's going to be a lot of that. I mean, occasionally maybe bring a slot and stuff and, try to jump a gap and create a negative. That'd be ideal. I haven't seen them have, I don't think I've charted one negative run for them looking at it. I don't think they've had one negative run. So maybe you can change the things up. Maybe you can get a negative and just kind of change up how the game plays out because I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. Maybe, and that usually comes from bringing a slot or something. And then all of a sudden, you slant down a gap and you get in the backfield and maybe one of those tight ends whiff and you're upfield. and he created negative. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, they do got big bodies on the interior, so you potentially could get upfield against some of these dudes. Give yourself a chance to push them backwards. I want to go to their pass game, though. Let's go to their pass game now. And I want to show, to me, they'll do tight end screens. We're going to show tight end screens, a lot of tight end screens, and specifically second down and long is typically when I tend to see those, right? If it's not a super effective first down play, they hit the tight end screen. We're definitely going to show those, and that's another big way that they get involved. I feel like the Rams have always kind of had that, at least for me, going back to like when they had Higbee and Gerald Everett. The tight end screens have always been a big part of their offense. This year, it's a huge part of their offense, and it's so effective every time. Every time it works, it's crazy. But this is kind of a part of it. This is where their pass offense has been able to live. Teams are not consistently getting them behind the chains, and they're living in spots like this. And when you live in spots like this, Stafford's a problem, and he's been a massive problem this season. Like here, so we get cover 6, right? We're kind of bracketing in at the top of the screen here, and this one's not cover 6. I'm looking at the wrong play. Hold up, it's coming up. Bear with me, it's coming up. All right, hold up. Let me go back. Make sure I know where I'm at. Okay, yeah, this is not that one. But you're going to see it. Let me let it roll a little bit. I think I put them in the wrong order. This is actually just man coverage. But I do like showing it. Okay, I skipped one. That's why. I like showing that one because it's kind of like what we've been doing. All right, let me go up. Here we go. Now we're on track. This is the stuff that's been a problem all season. Okay, now we're in some cover 6 here. And like I'm watching him make this throw, and they talk about the no-look stuff. Like these are the throws, man. But you notice a lot of these are just they're on schedule, they're on time. I think a lot of pass concepts are kind of familiar for us at this point. It's a lot of like sit down routes with like an in breaker sitting behind it. Anytime it's drop back, it feels like it's that. And I actually weirdly feel like if you get him into drop back passing, you're gonna have your best shot to get him off the field. Because Stafford really, I feel like, has moved like horribly this season. Now, when he's gotten out designed runs, he's actually moved pretty well, but he has been in no rush. Bro, he's been in no rush to get out of the pocket. That man's been just chilling back there. Now, if you put him in a design move, he's been good. But if he's just standing, he's chilling. And you get a chance to get him behind the chains. But this is the problem they get because now you don't create pressure. They're running the ball well. And then everything sets off it for them being on schedule. And he's throwing passes like this. He throws this to the slot receiver. And it's just a nuts pass. This look off is nuts. He's not even open when he's throwing it, and he puts it on him. And then we go here and we get a man coverage. And I just want to show some different coverages like this one. A cover 1 here, and they utilize that short motion. They get the receiver between the line of scrimmage like we do, but watch how it changes the leverage for Jacob Parrish. He's got an inside help safety, so he's playing him outside in, rolls over top here, and it's just easy. Just releases vertically upfield, pushes over the route, safety clears out the free safety, and it's easy money for him. This is the kind of stuff where it's like, this is just what the Rams do, man. This is what they've always done. It's why it's always so stressful, I think, playing this team because you're trying to get off the field and they just do stuff like this. And they're on schedule. It's like 1,000 times worse because it feels like, it's just now you're asking to give up a chunk play. Been missing this guy on the AFC round. Hey, I'm gonna be back, man. It's just scheduling, man. I want to be there. It's not that I don't want to be there. I want to be there. I'm gonna be back. Okay, I'm gonna be back. Rams fan, I believe the only negative play is when Garoppolo kneeled out the clock. Kneeled to run out the clock victory formation. Did not practice, was expected to play. Yeah, so I'm not making anything of that. I expect him to play too. Hey, shout out to you for being in here. That seems like where you guys are at. Like you're pretty healthy at this point, and you got these two dudes to deal with. Now we're going to get to them in a second. The no-look passes are nuts. And again, a lot of it feels like it's through play action, but I think also a lot of these familiar concepts are why it works for them so well too. Now that said, this is the world you want them to live in, though they're still good here. But this is, I think, the spot you want them to. And we'll go back to the graphic here in a second of what I've seen. But let's go to this one. So cover 3 defensively. This is the coverage that I think has found the most success. It's also the coverage they've seen the most offensively, specifically on early downs from what I went through. I think the Panthers, for me, were the first, they kind of opened my eyes a bit to like, okay, you know what? You don't need to be overly complex, but you have to play fast because if you don't play fast against them, you're in trouble. And I think they do a really good job schematically kind of finding answers. So you have to make them speed up their process. And that's the best thing that you can do is just play fast in what you're doing. And you can see they're going to do that too. So it makes them efficient. You can see very quickly recognizes safety, buzzes down into that Cook curl zone, comes back the other side, and flips it to the tight end. And he almost misses the pass here. They pull it down, but it's like that's probably the game you want to make them play because you might get a missed pass. You're playing fast enough. You're reading these routes. You're playing the routes. You give yourself a better shot than probably the other side of kind of just trying to read his eyes in zone. I know that's kind of the weird balance, but it's also, I think some of the match stuff works because you're just reading routes a little bit more so than you're actually reading the quarterback. And it gives you a chance to stick with him a little bit better. And then when you do go cover 3, the biggest problem they give you, as someone just brought up in the chat, Devontae Adams, is this on the outside. It's the one-on-ones they create. And I mean, these routes are just disgusting. Like this one where he snaps down, hits the deep out route, the deep bench route or whatever. Like that one was clean. And I think that's the biggest problem they give you. And then we get to the tight end screen type of thing, where again, it's to me when they're in second and long, they go tight end screen. And I feel like they've done this because they've done it on more predictable downs. And typically it's against zone. And because of that, it just felt like it's an easy 7 yards. Like it's just a clear extension of the run game. It's easy. They're downhill. And the tight end screen's been a problem. Anytime they're inside the 30 like this, it's like, maybe it's tight end screen. Notice it's the exact same coverage. They're out and running. Their tight ends are very comfortable with the football, so it all kind of fits for them. But if you also look on the flip side, and we'll show a couple of examples here, the Panthers, when they sat in this cover 3, as much as like, okay, we know what they're doing, they actually found success here. And I think they found it because they just played it well, right? They responsibly played it well. They were able to play the same coverage 3 straight times before the 4th time changing it, getting an interception in the end zone, which was essentially just because of a tip off of Derek Brown. But the lead up to that was we're playing the same coverage over and over. You probably know what we're doing, yet we're executing at a really high level. So we're making it difficult on you. And I think a lot of times that might just be the style that you have to lean into against the Rams. Like how much can we just challenge them? Play fast, challenge them. Take away the second level things when we go zone, because things like this, right? Again, this is where they get them on the move inside the 20. Stafford on the move here. And it's just good coverage, right? Outside corner drops off to the free safety. He drops back out to give help on Puka. And you can see the underneath flat defender dives back. He gets zone depth. Now there's nowhere to go. Stafford not looking to take that off. So he tries to fit it in there. Almost did. But it gave them a chance. Then here, similar kind of idea, right? We're matched up in coverage now defensively. And you could see you just get some good depth. If you just get some good depth, you give yourself a chance. And this is a missed pass that he has over the top here. And I think this one was, this was a 3 match coverage. So it's the same kind of idea. They try to go to a deep, corner route through the slot on this play. Let's run it back again. So they're matching it up vertically. The number 3 receiver, it's actually the tight end that's gonna run this. It's a beater for the coverage. If they're matched up and the number 2 takes the slot, now you're asking a guy to get out there that has, so much room from the hook curl. He's got to get all the way out to the sideline, and he does that. And he just keeps making him work, extends his zone coverage, and Stafford just kind of throws it over his head a little bit here. Now it was there, he just missed the pass. But ultimately, too, I think a lot of this is Carolina's not blitzing on a lot of these plays. They're kind of just sitting back. And while I think the Rams' offensive line is fantastic, I don't think they're the best offensive line I've seen in pass protection. I just think they don't put themselves in really any kind of situations, which is a credit to them, to be in a spot where, they're consistently under duress. Like they don't feel like they're ever playing that game. But you can get there, I think, with 4, specifically if you can get them beyond the first and second read, you can get there. You just got to get them to those situations. So I actually like the fact that they weren't, coming after them crazy aggressively. And again, here, same thing. Now Arizona's doing the same kind of idea, right? We're cover 3. There's nothing fancy to this. And, again, just no look. He's just using his eye movement. This is the problem that they create for you is Stafford uses his eyes, holds a free safety, comes back to the flat, pulls that underneath defender, and goes right behind him. So I like the idea of it. This is this is what you got to deal with. I'm going to be honest with you. We'll get to some of their third down stuff. You get a 2-man look from the Bucs here. This was what is his name? Mumpfield? Yeah, Mumpfield. Mumpfield picking up the first down. Like you got to deal with all these other guys. Here's Mumpfield getting open. It's like, all right, that's great. And then again, win 1-on-1. Like it's a very simple answer for them. We're just gonna ask our guy to win. Slot, not slot. Puka does a lot of work from the slot. They move him a ton. Here I think he's in a slot alignment here off the ball. He might be in a wide. Regardless, you get it's basically just a formation that you're set, and he's so condensed that you're opening up that sideline for him to just run this deep out route, that deep bench, and boom, he snaps it off, put it on him on the sideline, and they win it. And that was a 3rd down and 18, I think it was, which is crazy. So there's nothing complex about that. They just won 1-on-1, and a lot of the situations going to feel like it's going to have to be that. But you can also see the flip side, where Stafford takes a sack. And you're watching this play out, you're like, maybe you shouldn't have taken a sack there. Like, that was a little surprising. But there's nothing crazy about what they're doing. To the extent here where Tampa Bay, I guess the wrinkle to this is that they have their there's not really much of a wrinkle here, if I'm being honest with you. But they have their defensive end. I believe that's Anthony Nelson. I think he drops out the very next play. After this play, I think it's Anthony Nelson they put into coverage, which is, I guess it's a wrinkle. You can see him over the slot, but he's matched up with Devontae. Like, that should be where the ball goes. But he handles his own. Ball doesn't go there on a quick out. Stafford has to come to number 2. It's kind of slowing up a little bit here. You can see the route running wasn't great on this backside. They kind of stack through. He gets kind of bumped there by the coverage, and there's nothing there for him to go to, and he takes a sack. So it wasn't anything they did complex. They just did it sound. So I think what someone was bringing up earlier where they're like, oh, you got to bump these receivers. However you want to do that, right? You can try to do it off the line. I think it's dangerous off the line, right? Because obviously vertically can kind of open up for him, especially if you're in single high. It's going to be a really dangerous game for the Lions to play. How often they want to play that, I don't know. But I think specifically stuff like that is doable, right? Where you can get hands on receivers. Now, obviously, there can be illegal contact, but you could definitely get in way. You can throw off timing, and you can do it by just kind of interchanging some of that basic zone concepts underneath and then rerouting, right? Reroute the number 2 receiver. Like rerouting is very effective. There's so many condensed formations here. They're going to get guys free off the line of scrimmage if they want them free off the line of scrimmage. So I think the rerouting has to happen 4 yards downfield, right? You got to step inside, kind of these passing lanes in route development. If you can do that, like we saw there, and it kind of just throws off the timing a bit, now all of a sudden the second read that he wants to get to is not there. And Stafford does a lot of good in the sense that he's not slow to get through his progressions at all. He's very quick to see it. Okay, I see what covers are in. Boom, I'm coming to this. The downside to that, though, is that sometimes I feel like maybe there's opportunities that are there that he doesn't throw to come back to the second option. And if that does get bumped, or if the timing isn't completely there and the window's not there, now they have a problem. And now you could open up a sack potential. And I think that's your best bet for winning. So I think it is to what you're saying in the chat. And I think that is probably the strategy I think you have to utilize most is for the most part, we don't need to outdo the Rams for I have no idea what's coming on this play. I mean, you could try, but I don't think it's going to be there. But things like that, just playing sound is probably the best bet. Playing sound and fast is probably going to give you your best opportunity to get off the field. And then maybe the wrinkles come in more of the situations of all right, hey, man, we're going to blitz to stop the run, try to get a negative. Instead of if they're running for 6 a play, let's try to get a negative, right? This team averages 4.7. They're 9th in expected yards added per rush. Maybe we blitz to try to get them backwards one time. Third down is the spot that I would get creative because that's, to me, one of the hardest spots to deal with. But they're 17th in the league on third down, 17th in conversion rate. They're right there with us. I think they're 17th. So they're right there with us in that spot. They're 3rd in the red zone, and we're going to see why with all the fades and stuff that they can do. And that's kind of what they are, right? They'll get inside the 5. You're going to get a goal line fade, probably your first play, or a quick slant, and then they'll work off of that. But the point being is they're not elite on third down. So if you can get them in that spot, you got yourself a chance. How often can teams get them in the spot is the biggest challenge. So that's kind of the way that I would approach it. Now I want to flip it to the other side of the ball real quick. And I want to talk about this Rams defense because this is also pretty good. And they're pretty good at doing this too. All right, let me flip this on the screen here. Rams defense. Now, this one's a little harder to read, but I'll start here at the same spot with that run defense. It's really good. It's really good, man. There's a lot of good things happening here. But I will say again, I think my mind is open a bit. Again, I do like going at Braden Fisk. He can create some negatives, but they move him around a bit. He'll play some nose for him too. So I do like going at Fisk generally in this game, rushing the football. But I also feel like there's more opportunities maybe even there than just that, right? I mean, if you can get them to start to rotate a bit, you want to go at Hamilton, who plays some nose for him. Jared Verse, that defensive end, as good as he is, if you can go directly at him with the tackle rather than having him play the backside. If he is playing the backside, you better get hands on him. Probably need a split zone, something, probably a fullback, someone to slow him down because otherwise he's going to create some negatives. But I think there's guys that you can go at. Davis, Hamilton, Verse, Fisk. Those were kind of guys that I would focus on. Maybe Ford a little bit too, but he's good. He's good. Puna Ford's good. We are on third downs too often. So the misconversion, and that's it, right? So can you get him into that spot, right? And I mean, for us, I mean, hopefully maybe you guys have some penalties on first down. That'll back them up a little bit, give us a better shot. But, I mean, it could make sense to take your shots and swings, I think, if they're running the ball well. But outside of that, I don't think that needs to be your strategy. I think it just has to be, hey, we got to play clean. Because, again, it's kind of like I said back to the last show, where it's an incomplete pass against the Rams is a big win. That's like a sack. I'll take that all day long. And if I can force Stafford to throw an incomplete pass, I'm giving myself a chance to get after him. It means he's holding the ball a little bit. It gives me an opportunity because if I start isolating and getting after him, I just feel like there's going to be more downside than anything. I'd love to be wrong on that, but it feels like there's going to be more downside. But I did notice a couple of things. First thing being, I do like the counter runs against these guys. One, their linebackers are rarely touched at the second level, it feels like. So if you can do that with some counter runs, you can slow it down a bit and maybe get up to those guys. And, of course, it's a gap scheme off it, so you can pull, and I can allow a lineman to carry up to the next level. I can allow a tight end to get in the action there, and that gives me an opportunity to get to those backers directly. So I love that because I think if you can get to their backers, you have a chance to pop. It's just a challenge of getting to those linebackers. And the other thing is the outside zone opened up a bit for the Bucs. That was the team specifically that kind of created some movement on the interior, pointed out some of those players to me. It was like, okay, maybe you can go at a couple of these guys. They're very good against the run. And I guess we'll get to that right now so we can see a couple of different examples here of what I'm talking about. So here, counter pull. This is the kind of thing that I like doing. Now you can see on the backside, and this is already starting the problem. We're not even talking about a pass play here. And like I said, their DB blitzing is an issue. Here, they step down their safeties coming off the edge, and he blows it up in the backfield. So this is the downside. It's okay, do we need some side of backside blocker this is going to be a big challenge. Like a big challenge for Goff will be, can he identify and have a response to, okay, DB stepped up on the line. We have to account for that guy, because at times we're just not going to be able to, because of how far they come from, especially in pass downs. They'll come from 5 yards away. But in spots like this, can we recognize it and give ourselves an opportunity to not allow that guy to blow the play up? Because that's happened to us a lot in the past. And if you can, you give yourselves a chance, because on the front side here, they drop Braden Fisk. You're up to the linebackers. If number 2 does not make this play, you're popping this. And it doesn't happen there. It never gives itself a chance. Or like here's a zone run. It has some success. You push Fisk kind of out of the play. You can see he's kind of turned around backwards there. Picks up a little downhill success. Again, get your pullers into it, get your tight ends. Now I'm climbing to the backers. Now we have a chance to create a little bit of a run lane. I like doing that against these guys. And we flash it, and a lot of times that's kind of a Monty element, but I think both running backs can work through that, because you can look at it from the perspective of like, hey man, if we can get anybody through there, that's a chance for an explosive. And against these guys, we need all the chances at explosives that we can get. So I don't hate that necessarily, if that's kind of the mindset. Show a couple more runs here before we go to this passing stuff. Let me go back here. Kind of an outside zone look here. There's some movement at the point of attack. You can see it. Their big D end there is kind of getting jarred back by 2 blocks. Let's see it right here. I think that's Hamilton, who's now playing some DN for him. You can create some movement there. I don't know why he cuts back necessarily, but again, it's his own block. So Landman steps in and he's kind of cuts back off of that and only picks up a couple of yards versus real movement that they created up front. Now, the flip side is the pass defense. We might have to keep 3 heavies out there if this O-line is as good as they say it is. That would be my approach, right? That would be my approach. I actually agree. I would do that. I would play Aleem McNeil back at DN in this game and see how it goes. Now, if Aleem's getting cooked, like, all right, hey man, look, we got to go back to the interior, or maybe we give you less snaps. But I would not be against doing that at all. Aleem goes to DN. That way I can get Reader and Roy and Tyleek on the field more often and just be heavy. I want to be very heavy up front to try to slow that down. Again, if I'm not gonna, if I'm not looking at it from like how fast can I get upfield consistently, then I think that's an okay matchup to kind of play into anyway. I think that's a fine way to go after these guys. And that's the way that I would go after it specifically. Okay. Just tackle while play action. We aren't okay. I already read that. All right, let's go to this passing stuff. Let's go to this. Here we go. And I want to show, we've seen some of this, man. Some of this stuff isn't even new. Like we've seen some of these looks and we know what it is. It's just, can you get to it? Let me get myself out of the way here. All right, bam. There we go. This looks better. Let me see where I'm at. All right. So first off, again, we showed some of the blitzing. Here would be an example of that 5-man rush, 3-match blitz here, deep curls across the board, the flats uncovered. This is something that they will allow. It's just what the coverage allows, because specifically in this case, they're losing an underneath defender. So you're carried up the number 2 receiver. You have to. The flat gets open on this play because they don't have the extra underneath defender to cover the number 3. So he's wide open. You check it down to, you might have a chance. Now, this one needs enough yards where maybe you don't have a chance here. But I think what the Rams excel in is, while they'll play a lot of cover 3, and they'll do this on 3rd and long too, is they play with great depth. Notice their defensive backs, man. They sit right underneath routes. You see the deep curl at the bottom? The safety sits right underneath it. He's not rolling into the flat. He's like, take it. You know what I mean? We're sitting right on this. So this is where the challenge comes into play of, if you get yourself into a 3rd and long, playing the sticks may be very difficult unless you're getting outbreaking routes, right? Running a route to the sticks can be tough over the middle of the field unless you're getting to the outside, where you can kind of take some of those extra zone defenders out of the play, because they're just going to sit on those routes and force you to check it down. And I think that's okay to do. But that said, that I think has to be the approach when you get to 3rd down and long, is like, all right, can we get something to the outside in these spots? But it also just emphasizes not getting there against these guys. I appreciate that sub, man. Has this been the most confusing NFL season ever? Week to week, flip a coin on who wins. It's felt like that. It has been wild. The one team that has been, the Dolphins. They just beat bad teams. Look, you know what I mean? The Dolphins, man. But no, you're right. But you can see it. The flat's open. The blitz gets there. I think it's the biggest challenge that they create is what they do up front, because they have all the movement. I think that's the biggest problem they give you. Byron Young. Love me some Byron Young. I think the pressure they create with all their movement up front is the biggest problem. They're very athletic up front as well, so they can kind of lean into that. Even Poona Ford's a freaky athlete. Like, they can lean into that. Now, here's the problem that I think they create, and this is where, at least what came to mind for me when Dan Campbell said this week, like, hey, some of those guys aren't that young anymore. So you're in a spot now where it's like, these guys, they know who they want to be and what they want to get to, and they can do it much better, essentially. And I think these are the examples that I point to when I think of some of these things where they can invert some of their coverage, right? And it's very seamless for them, and they can get a guy to race to the flat, and they could take away some of your short yardage looks. I think that's the first thing that I point to specifically with these guys. It's stuff like that. And, you can play that high-low, and they can take away short yardage situations. And in this case, they take away a flood concept that you would think would be there because they invert the coverage. And it's like, where do I go on the play? That, to me, is the biggest challenge they create in coverage, is they can go from, hey, we're sitting single high, we're going cover 3 just like we normally do, and then bam, they invert it. And all of a sudden, that outside corner drops to safety, a flat defender drops out, because they've always had this. They've always been super athletic up front. Now, here's the challenge, and this is where I flip it around. You have to expose that. Like, in some way, you have to find a way to expose defensive linemen and heavy linebackers dropping into coverage. Because right now, like I said, Josiah Stewart's kind of became a guy for that. It's always been Byron Young. You have to find a way to attack those guys. And it's way easier said than done, because it doesn't just guarantee anything. But if they're going to play that game, you have to find a way to expose that guy in coverage. And I think part of this as well, as we're going to see, is getting behind the linebackers on the second level. Because of some of the coverages they play, they're going to play a little bit more aggressive and more shallow underneath because it's their assignment. So it does open up seam opportunities to open, and a lot of the inverted stuff too, that really can open up seam routes, because their safeties or their new safety in that case, they have a lot more ground to cover, because you're asking a guy from an outside third to go to a 2-deep coverage look and cover half the field. That's a lot of ground to cover on an outside. So you're putting that guy on an island with a lot of room to go, and he's not even positioned that well to do it. So it opens up opportunity to push downfield. The flip side is when they do it on short yardage, teams are looking for short yardage, and if they go to that, there's nothing there. That's not a concept that's going to open. So we'll see that more as we go through this. But I think that's been the biggest thing that I've noticed that I think makes their coverage so challenging, is that they can do all that inverted stuff. Now here, you're not really getting that. Safety's rolling down. They're blitzing again underneath here. And we're going to see a scramble. And a lot of this is turned into scrambles. And it's going to be a problem because the Lions don't have this threat. They really don't. They don't. I mean, Goff took off for 20 yards. Let me not say that. Goff took off for 20 yards this year. Let me not disrespect what he did. All right. Now, there are matchups that I do like against these guys, though, in coverage. And like I said, I think it's the challenge of, we can look at it and be like, man, the corners aren't great. Okay, true, right? And I don't want to say necessarily true. I think they're great for what they do, right? They're great for what they do schematically. They work really well, so they fit. They're not putting them in spots that doesn't make sense for them. I think they put their guys in great positions, and they're very versatile, and they're very sound. It's like, I've always felt this way with Green Bay too. It's like, they may not have the dudes on paper, but when they put them in this system with their safety play and their nickels and all the movement, and all of a sudden, like, everybody's moving around defensively. Here comes Javon Bullard. Where is he? Oh, here comes the slot blitz. Once they start doing that, it's a handful, because, like, yeah, you might be able to go at that guy, but how often can you find that matchup? We just talked about how, hey, man, they're 3 match, right? You think someone's isolated. Well, not really, because their safety sits down. He sits in front of the route. It's like, where do I throw the ball? That's the challenge they create, and I think that's where they're at right now. And this is the biggest problem, is this. Their defensive back blitzing. You have to almost account for this in the sense of, this guy's 5 yards off the ball, blitzing from the slot. They're overloading. Once they shifted to a 3-by-2 here, they slid the center out. And I'll go back to show you. They slid the center out on this left side of the O-line, so it cleared out a 2-on-3 for the bottom of the screen. Or really, in this case, I guess it's a 2-on-4. It's a 3-on-4 here. And they're just outnumbered on that right side. You can't pick this up. So now you got to find a quick answer. And even if they lose, where are you going with the football here? Right at the top of the screen, you might have leverage, but can you get it there that fast? That's a challenge they're going to create. I do think guys like Jacoby Durant can be beat one-on-one. I do want to try to get vertical against Jacoby Durant if he's sitting on the outside. And if they're going to play him one-on-one on J-Mo, there's no doubt in my mind that there's going to be an occasion where it's like, hey, dude, don't overthink this. Drop back, get your foot in the ground, look the other way, and take a shot to J-Mo and just see if he can run past him. Because to me, that alone is going to be a case of, you have to give them that respect early. And if they're going to play that single high, which they like to play, you just got to give yourselves a chance and just see what happens, right? I mean, it's like, don't even wait for the development of it. Just put it up there and see what happens. Because if you're going to put them on an island with guys like that, that's your best opportunity to make something happen. And I'll show a couple more examples just like this. And again, you see where it opens up. Like stuff like this, just unfortunate. Hopefully we don't have stuff like this happen. This was a disaster for the Bucs. I mean, I felt bad watching this. Like, yeah, this was even worse watching it back. Watching it live was crazy. Watching it back was even worse. This shouldn't happen. But it's the same idea, right? Because vertically, again, the number 1 and number 2 switch. So you get a switch release here, right? So the number 1 receiver outside third, he has that if it goes vertical, right? You see number 14, Jacoby Durant, I got that vertical. But once they switch release right here, now there's a new number 1. Now all of a sudden it's the tight end into the flat. So the number 2 corner, or in this case, the number 2 receiver, becomes the receiver that was on the outside. So now you have, I don't know who this is in coverage, I'm going to be honest with you, 33 or something. Is that Lake? I don't know. Now he's sitting, he takes that route away. Well, the flat's wide open because you took the outside third out, and all of a sudden he had to match up the number 2 receiver. Now the number 1's wide open, which is your flat. So this is a great read. It's an easy concept. It's like, hey man, these are free yards. But then this happens, and it should be a good gain, and then that, and it turns into a pick 6. Okay, so hopefully we don't have that happen, right? Stuff like that. But there's opportunity, and that's where I think John Moran said what he said in the sense of like, if we just have to take our checkdowns and play the next down, be patient. That's why, because of things like that, that's why he says that. Like similar, here you go, another match coverage, right? Number 2 to number 3, number 2 receiver. Slot corner has him vertical. Okay, but what happens when these guys switch? Well, all of a sudden, now that slot corner would be responsible. He's going to pass to the free safety. Right here, you see him drop it off to the free safety. Great. Problem is that linebacker, all of a sudden, those routes shifted. Now he's got to go get to the flat. Well, he can't get to the flat. That's not his responsibility anymore. His responsibility now is the receiver that's sitting behind him. So now all of a sudden, the flat is wide open. The out route's wide open. Throw it to him. Well, they don't see that. He doesn't see that. He takes off. Now he scrambles for 5. He makes it happen. But this coverage, like every coverage, has weaknesses. And we've seen this recently, which gives me optimism. This isn't new to us. Right here, he throws that. It's a big gain. You have to understand, I think, what you're trying to get at. You have to understand what you're trying to get at, because it feels like, from a Bucs perspective, the idea that he doesn't know that this is going to be open feels kind of crazy in my eyes. I mean, maybe there's some credit. They disguise it a little bit. Maybe it just looks like cover 1. And you're like, hey, man, if it's cover 1, I'm going to throw it to my slot, right? He's running an in-breaker. I'm ripping it right to him. But if you look at the Rams and you say they don't really run a lot of that, you would kind of anticipate that this is what's going to open up on the play. Like, I see the Rams run man, but not as often as they run that. Like, that would just be my expectation. Is like, yeah, that's not going to be where the ball is going to go here. I have to expect that he's going to drop that thing off. And it's like they didn't even expect the fact that the tight end was going to be open, which is weird. You have to understand what you're getting to for sure, and what the Rams are going to allow you to get to. And these are where, again, this is the point to Forbes that I made earlier. So shout out to my man Charles that was in here at the beginning. Charles, this is what I was pointing to, is a play like this, right? You get a short motion by Ted McMillan. Watch him on the bottom of the screen here. Short motion across, or I guess it's just motion across. It bumps them out here. They're in cover 3. Emmanuel Forbes is late to get out there, and I cut away from it, which is my problem. Let me go back. I messed that up. Here we go. Right here. All right. So there's actually another corner on the bottom. Emmanuel Forbes has that outside third. Defensive back steps down because now he's got to get underneath 1. Well, the short motion, he bumps under 1 right here. And now all of a sudden they have confusion because the linebacker also goes underneath 1. Instead of playing underneath the 2, the seam opens up. And this is just an element of their linebacker play, especially when you're playing match coverage, because you can see his cover 3 match by that slot covering it vertical, right? He doesn't want to put that stress on the safety. Well, they're going to allow that to the linebacker side, which in this case is the tight end. They're going to allow him to go vertical. And that takes 2 guys on to play. The challenge is who can attack that for the Lions? Who's the guy that can expose that opening for the Lions? Do they have a guy that they feel like can do that? Can Shade Zylstra be available and do that? Who is that guy? That's going to be the challenge. And then here's where, when it's 2 deep coverage, which we're going to show you defensively, there's a couple of downs that you kind of expect that, specifically for me, that you would expect to get mostly 2 deep coverage, which is usually second down against this team. Second down and long, you expect 2 deep. Second down and medium, you expect 2 deep. You see their cover 4, cover 6, cover 2. Second down and short, you can expect 2 deep because they'll just invert out of it. Like, there's a lot of cover. It could be Tesla. It absolutely could be Tesla. The only challenge with that, and here's kind of the back and forth, this is where I think the chess match comes into play, is if you put Tesla out there, they're probably taking their linebackers off the field. And maybe not totally, but say you put, you want to find the matchup of Tesla as like our extension of a tight end. So he's our slot. All right, cool. We'll make him like a tight end. You can put him on a line of scrimmage. Fine. You could really live into that. This would be a cool week to have that wrinkle. But the problem becomes that at that point, the Rams are going to match that, right? So they're going to say, okay, you want to put 3 receivers out here, we'll put 1 backer on the field. Like we're going to go nickel, or in some case, maybe they'll go dime against that. So they may not have the ease of saying, hey, man, we can just expose a linebacker on Tesla because we're not going to give you that as a defense. But then the flip side for the Lions is if they say, hey, man, we're going to go dime, we're not giving you that, fine. Lions say we got to run at that. And that's where Tesla has to be a bully in the run game. We have to be able to run at that. Now, another wrinkle that I like that the Bucs had to this point, and a lot of it was on second down, you're seeing a lot of that 2 deep coverage, is the screens. That's not to say they were dominant on it, but it did feel like it gave them an out to say, hey, look, what do the Rams give up, right? They're going to cover 3, and they're going to match a lot of things. Okay, so I'm going to open up flats. I'm going to get things out underneath. I'm going to be able to find matchups. If I know what to expect, I can find those. What happens on second down and long? Well, now they go a lot of 2 deep, right? So that stuff becomes a lot more difficult to hit. They take away flats pretty well. So what the Bucs said, I felt, especially with all their movement that they're going to have with their safeties, they're like, hey, we're just going to throw a screen. We're going to throw a screen. We're going to let them rotate their coverage. And as long as we can block up that first aggressive underneath defender, we have a chance to get 4 to 5 yards. We have a chance to just get upfield. And I thought that was a really smart plan. Now, it didn't work every time. There was one that went backwards for 3, but I thought the idea made sense because, like, hey, they want to have all this movement. We have to go at that. And don't overcomplicate it. Don't allow our quarterback to hold the ball against a good rush. Just get it out and let's go to upfield. And I think the Lions can look at doing that. You put Gibbs out in the slot on 2nd down and 8. We just throw a quick screen to him, something like that. Lions obviously love their screen, so it's nothing crazy. We only have a couple more plays to look at here. And this is where you're trying to find openings. And I just think personnel-wise, this isn't the Rams' strength. I think their linebackers are great, but I don't think this is their strength necessarily. 2 deep, Tampa 2 coverage. Look at the seams here. I just don't think this is their bag. And also on top of it, you notice at the bottom of the screen, because they're inverting out of it, which is the other part that I mentioned, that cornerback in this case, now he's the outside third. So, or he's the half field coverage. He's got a lot of ground to cover because he's in an outside third alignment. He's got a race to get to that seam. Well, guess what? If he does that, he's got no vision on the vertical route behind him. So it opens up that window, and I don't think their linebackers excel at carrying that vertically, which is why that vertical seam can absolutely open up against that. So if you want shots, sounds backwards, but that might be the place to find it. And I just want to throw 2 more plays in here that I just thought were interesting that might be worth a showing to what they're capable of. DB blitzing, which is a problem. Can we recognize and anticipate it? Here you get a short motion. He's showing it. They bring it. Bucks have no answer for it. They're cooked. That's an incomplete pass. Can we have an answer for that in this game? Can we expose it in this game? And a couple more plays to show this. Here would be a man coverage example of them. You can see that you can get wins. And you see it here to Kobe Durant. They just ran past him. Right? So it's like, hey, safety's cheating down. He's helping on Baker. You could just chuck that one over top. That's where I'm like, hey, man, just if you get a one-on-one, just throw it over top, see what happens. It's going to be hard in cover 3. And the problem is, and here's why I think the screens work, because they're going to play so far off. If they're concerned about Jameson just running over top, you absolutely have to lean into just throw the ball quickly to him and get upfield, because that's going to be their concern. They're not going to play that coverage you wouldn't think against Jameson, because to them, what's the point? Why would I play that against Jameson Williams? Why would I do that? Why would I do that against Tesla? Because I could just put both those guys outside, put a single high safety, and just throw it up to one of them and see what happens. That doesn't make sense from their perspective at all. I would assume they're a majority of the time going to play soft. But if they do get into a situation where it's like, hey, we want to get aggressive, man, it's 3rd down and 5, let's get after these guys. Cool. Now is where maybe we get our shot. 3rd and 5 might be the shot time. 3rd and 5 might not be check down, because they're probably not going to give you that. That's probably where 3rd downs probably got to look deeper than the sticks. I'm going to be honest with you. That if you're going to find explosive, it might be in a spot that's just not is essentially what they're not playing, which is the sticks. We saw them sit on the sticks. They're going to sit on the sticks and zone. But if you push it beyond that, it's going to be hard to sit on the sticks because everything underneath is going to be open. So now it gets to the point where it's like, hey, man, they're down. They're playing the sticks. Now's where we push it over top. And then this is the problem that the Rams caused. Now, I didn't show the fade or the slant, but I give love to Colby Parkinson because, I mean, since he was with Seattle, this guy's a dog. And he just wins. And you got all these other guys you got to deal with. They stack it up. And he just wins. He just beats Levante. I mean, this is easy. He runs a slant. And he walks into the end zone. Doesn't get any easier than that. As good as it gets. And then I think, okay, there is one more here. And then here's the interception that the Panthers had. This was one that I felt was legit. It was good coverage. Maybe it was a little handsy. But ultimately, like, again, it was 3 match. Wasn't a lot of craziness going on here. Stafford knows what it is. He's got single high, one-on-one on the outside. I'm just going to throw it. He's trying to no-look this because he's got zone. Smart by him, right? He wants to hold it on a defender. Problem is, it gets picked. So it wasn't like the Carolina Panthers did anything magical to be like, hey, man, we're going to get negative. It's very straightforward. But they played it soundly and gave themselves a chance because they played it soundly. So that's what I look at for this one, defensively as a whole. And I'll throw this graphic back up one more time for this Rams defense just to see situationally. I mean, overall, really what it boils down to for me is 1st down is a lot of single high stuff. You'll get some rotating, but you get more blitzing. You get a lot more movement than you would typically expect with like a team like Dallas. 2nd down, you're going to need a lot of 2 deep things. So, you know, that might be the point where it's the quick hitters. And 3rd down, I think you got to look for your shots. I think that's where you got to try to push the ball over top in this game because that might be the best chance to do it. Specifically, if on 3rd down, I'm not going to blitz you, that might be the best chance to do it. And then can we find any kind of run game? I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with coming out in this game and saying we're going to be pass first. I don't think there's any problem with that because just by those coverages alone, that would scream to you, hey, that's the spot to throw it. Throw it on 1st down. Run it on 2nd down. Like those coverages are asking you to do that. Then on 3rd down, you can take your shot on 3rd and 3, especially if you're saying, hey, man, we're willing to go for it on 4th down. Because one thing that came to mind was, well, I like running on 3rd down against these guys. All right, do that. But if you can get to a 3rd and 3 and you're willing to go for it, which I guarantee Dan Campbell will be, then you can play it from just that concept in general. Hey, 1st down, we're throwing. 2nd down, we running. 3rd down, This is a spot we're looking for shots. If we don't get it, we'll go for it on fourth down. Like, and that can be a mindset, I think, for how you approach this game overall. Couple of side notes, things that I don't want to forget that I put on here before we keep it moving. Again, I think they lean on the right side of the line. I talked about the tight end screens. Okay, I guess there's not really anything to that necessarily. I guess we hit on most of the things. All right, let me just leave that there. Stafford led with 20 touchdowns inside the 20. Gosh, I believe it, man. What has he got? Like 34 this year? They got one-on-one beaters, man, across the board. We're gonna have to have guys challenge them. Amik, Rocky Sin, those dudes need to show up, man. DJ Reed, those guys got to show up. They're gonna be outsized down there too, but they're gonna make some plays. I just hope we, give them a battle. That's all I'm hoping for. Be physical, make them earn it. As always, this game comes down to who wins line of scrimmage. And here's the reality, though. There's a very good chance we don't win the line of scrimmage battle. Like, I would love to, and I hope we get closer to what the Bucs did. But I would say, odds-wise, it points to Rams are probably going to win that battle. Because right now, they're not very complicated offensively. And I just think consistency-wise, they've been as good as I've seen rushing the football. That said, though, that's where we've invested. If there is, and that's not to say we can't slow them down. Like we can keep in the game, right? So I look at it like this, Big, is like defense line, keep us in it. Don't let it be 7 yards, let it be 4. If the defense line can just keep us in it on rushing plays in 4 yards, we give ourselves a chance. That could still be a win for the Rams in theory, but it's a win for us in the sense that we're keeping ourselves alive. Offensive line, probably not going to win that battle. But can we find maybe the run scheme that opens us up a little bit for success? But I would say really and this is what the Rams have done, you probably got to outdo the Rams at their own game, which is the Rams don't put themselves in a lot of bad spots. Here's what I would say, Big. Can we put our offensive line in the right spots consistently? We did it against Seattle. You walked out of Seattle thinking, man, we played pretty good up front. Well, I think we put ourselves in a lot of good spots. Can we put our O-line in that spot in this game more often than the Rams can? I would say that would be the way. So it's what you're saying, but that's what I would think about it. It's like, can we give our offense line the chance? Like, and that means, hey, it's first down. We're going to throw the ball, but the ball is going to be out in 2.5 seconds or less. 2.5 seconds or less, that ball is going to be out on first down, right? Basically every time we throw it. And in that case, your offensive line, they may not have to have a great day. You just got to hold up for 2.5 seconds. You got to give me, just let him get to his back foot. You know what I mean? Let him get to his second read, and we give those guys a chance. Because I do think, like, I just don't think the odds are in our favor of, like, this O-line against their O-line, right? Like, I think our D-line can give them a battle, though. And they can give us a chance. And that's all I'm asking for. Just give us a chance, D-line. Keep us in this. If you can keep us in this and not let us get bullied, we're going to have a game here. Because schematically, the Lions' best advantage offensively might be throwing the football. The challenge with throwing the football against the Rams is there's a lot of movement. So how can you eliminate movement by putting your O-line in a good position to attack their biggest weakness, which could be coverage, which would allow you in turn to run the football? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. But if we beat them up front, if we run the ball over them and we're handling the business on the run game and it's clear, we're going to be in a great spot. I just don't know how many teams been able to do that this year. We win the line of scrimmage by getting – there you go. There you go. Let me see. I missed some stuff here. Be aggressive offensively, defensively, pass, build a lead. Yes. And, again, defensively, play aggressively, right? Like, aggressively physical, get hands on guys in the second level, get hands on them in zone in the middle of the field. But to me, it doesn't mean you need to be overwhelmingly blitzing. It doesn't mean that. It just means that it doesn't mean you need to overwhelm them by blitzing them. It means instead you just have to play fast defensively. I don't think you have to go after them and throw everything at them, because I think you're putting yourself in a bad spot. And one thing you don't want to do against these guys is fall down 14-0, because they'll never feel like they're in a pass situation, and you'll always feel like you're in a pass situation, which is already the game that you don't want to play, because that could be your approach from general. And I hear you with the run the ball thing, but I do believe the last 2 weeks Lions have won. The Lions won last week because they were able to throw the ball, and they kept themselves in it because they were able to throw the ball against the Packers. I just think right now your biggest advantage is that on paper. Doesn't mean don't run the ball. I just think it means that you can't be – it's kind of like what I said against Dallas game. I said don't be hard-headed trying to run the football. I think I said that against Dallas, and I feel like Dan wasn't really until like one drive in the third quarter. I kind of feel similarly to this in the Rams game to a sense here, but I think that there's windows to run the ball against him. It just has to come at the right time. You can't be like, hey, man, first, second, we're running the football, and then we'll see what happens on third. Like, I feel like you're going to put yourself behind the sticks all the time doing that. But don't be afraid to run in the sense of short yardage. Like, if it's third down and 3, run the football. You don't got to throw in that spot. Run it there. If it's fourth down, run the football. Like, I think those two things, don't be afraid to run it. Go after them. Second down, run the football. Like, so those downs that you would expect that you would typically have to throw, that's where I would agree. Like, I would look to run it there. That's how I would approach this thing. Tight ends win battle with 5'6" DBs. They do got some little DBs. Stafford had made the 50-50 ball into a guaranteed touchdown for the second time in his career. Thinking back to the Stafford days, man. We win the line of scrimmage. Okay, I read that. Let's go Lions. Mr. Detroit City, I see you. 10-plus catch game for Gibson coming. There you go. Get your props in. The odds are stacked, but in my opinion, we have enough personnel to pull it off. I think so. We just got to play one of our cleanest games. But that's kind of playoffs in general, too. You know what I mean? Like, this would be the kind of team that you'd have to see at some point you would expect. So just on that day, you have to play better than them. You don't have to be better. You just have to play better that day. Just play better tomorrow. Just play better. As a Rams fan, if the Lions win, I would be glad because we might see a chance to see each other in playoffs. Bro, the energy to run that back again. Come on, man. I just want to get in, bro. I just want a chance, dude. A lot of value in using Monty. I think so, too. I think there could be some real value in that. And obviously for pass throw, too, because it's going to be coming from anywhere. So whichever back they trust more to see it, we're going to need that. Without Rags and interior O-line being elite anymore has affected Montgomery. Yes, but Montgomery has been pretty good over the last couple of weeks. And I do think that the explosives have been lacking, no doubt. We've obviously had more negatives, but I think Glasgow coming back last week helped us a lot. Tate's been playing some good ball recently, and Monty kind of fed off of that a little bit. And I think he fed off it because his game, right now his game fits what we need. That's how I look at it. Ben Johnson knew the only way Goff get first downs by handing the ball off. All right, this guy, man. I will say, though, the Rams, they run a ton of in-breakers. I know that's always, the thing with us. Bro, they run a ton of in-breakers, bro. A ton of them, man. Shouldn't we schematically run a lot in the first, throw more in the second, then run again in the third, then throw more in the fourth? Oh, I'm not talking quarter. If you're talking quarters, potentially. I'm talking more from a down perspective. Right? Now, it depends on how far it is, right? If it's 2nd and 18, I probably don't want to run the football. But I'm talking more from a down perspective. I like coming out, throwing it against this team. Just because I feel like I'm going to get overwhelmingly cover 3 against it. So it's why not lead into that? Now, if they change that idea, maybe you change it up too. But, and again, even what I'm saying on second down with the Bucks, they ran quick screens. It's a pass, but I felt like that version of what they were doing was not a bad approach. And maybe that's the approach on first down too, is instead of running, we just throw screens, right? You want to sit off at outside corner? All right, we're just going to throw a screen at you because, it's just an extension of what we're doing. It still is going to be like a run in that sense. That I'm just looking at from that. Just what coverage do I expect to get it on the down? And then what would be my approach to attack that coverage and what I think would play out better? Firsker versus Skipper. Who gets more snaps? While we have one tight end in the whole room. Well, hopefully Shane's back this weekend. Firsker versus Skipper. That's a good question. I would say Skipper, just based on what it's looked like. Just based on what it looked like, I would say Skipper. He felt like he's been a complete starter over the last few weeks. So, and I don't know how much they actually think Firsker is going to add in the passing attack. If they felt like there was real value there, maybe more this game because it would make some sense. But they haven't really used him. I felt like much at all in that. So I would lean Skipper. Shouldn't we? Oh, okay. So shouldn't we run a lot in the first, run one in the second? Again, I feel like it just depends on how the game's going. I don't know. I guess everybody kind of, I guess from Dan's perspective, the perfect game would probably be run the ball in all quarters, right? We run it first, run it more in the second, run more in the third. We just wearing you down. I don't know. I don't know if there's a way that I would lean from that in this game specifically. Obviously, I'd like to get the run going, but if it doesn't get going and we're just stalling out punting the first 2 drives, that doesn't help anybody. You know what I mean? It's hey, we're running the ball. We're not really doing anything. It'd be ideal to wear them down. I think the best benefit to point to that case would be, I do feel that if you can start getting them rotating defensive line wise, it's your best shot to run the ball against these dudes, which is also why it's okay to throw the ball, because if it's short passes, you're going to stay on the field for a while. But you want to get them to rotate and you want to get them to start moving guys around. You want to get Fist to go to nose. You want to start putting back, put Davis on the field. You want to start rotating that front a lot and not letting that base just sit out there all game. I think that's probably the best benefit. Beyond the defense line, though, they're not going to, they're going to have guys rotating all game long, but just the longer drives, the more that you can get them to rotate, I think is your best bet. We lose, we face the Rams in the playoffs, and I think that's what the NFL wants. I'll take it. Hey, as long as we get in. You think they're going to run on us? Yeah, I think they're going to run on us. How successfully is the big question. I would say if we keep it under 80 yards, we're feeling good. If they rush for less than 80 yards as a team, I'd want to believe that means we won the football game. That's how I would feel. So that feels like a kind of cutoff number. I don't know, man. I really don't know how it's going to go. Like Reader and Tyler give me a lot of optimism because I think they can win up front. I'm just not sure at D end right now. Like I think Hutch played the run really well against Dallas. Their tight ends block well, so he's going to have his hands full again. I think Davenport helps us a bit there, but like that's the position I wonder about the most, like those stretch runs. Jack Campbell gives me a lot of optimism for a lot of the inside stuff because he can kind of make up for, getting blown off the ball where he'll just take on a lineman and still make the play. So he gives me optimism. I don't know. I would say they probably run for 90 yards, something like that, 80, 90 yards. Again, if they run for less than 80, I think we win the game. I think that's a huge win for us, assuming we're not just selling everything out to go stop it and we're getting gashed in the pass game, assuming it doesn't look like that. I think that we're going to use the 3 tight ends and 3 tight ends. Do we have 3 tight ends? I mean, look, if we can do it in the sense of pulling them, getting outside the tackles, you got a shot. Because I think you can run directly at Burst. I wouldn't want to run away from him, but I think you can run directly at him. And that is a softer point of the defense, making their linebackers go chase rather than leaving them inside the tackle box. Going directly at their defensive ends, that gives you more life. Now, their DBs do tackle well. I'll give them credit. Like, they do tackle pretty well. They've blown up some stuff. So, like, on an island, they do pretty well. But against the back, it is a different story. I don't hate that. If you get some stuff going to the outside, I don't hate that at all. If Hutch doesn't get 3 sacks in such a big game, Lions he ask for a refund. Nah, Hutch was awesome last game. I would love for him to get 3 sacks, though. I mean, shoot, if he gets probably 2, probably had a fantastic game against these dudes. If we get a shot, we get multiple sacks, we're probably feeling pretty good because that means Stafford's holding the ball a little bit. Run away from Puna. Dang, man, that dude, man. He got like a cheap contract too this offseason, which is the crazy part. The fact that I don't know. I don't understand. They grabbed him for like nothing. Shepard will have them boys ready. Facts. Now, I do like that, though, Gavin. I like that. That could be Dan's approach, no question. And maybe that's the approach coming in. You change it up at half, depending on how it's going. All right, this ain't working. Maybe we do got to throw a little more early downs. Have both, man. Have both strategies going. I like those 2. Put those both in the back pocket. We'll run both at them. All right, chat. Look, man, it's time for, I guess let's go to a score prediction, man. Let's get some scores in the chat. So we paid $180 million for 2 sacks. I'm going to need my money back. For 2 sacks, I mean, look, he was a dog last game. Said I don't look at sacks, though. So, like, I would never pay a guy based on sacks. I would never do that. Yeah. I don't know. He got hit a ton of wins last game. I thought he was fantastic. The Green Bay game wasn't his best. I thought his last one was really good. He's only got 2 sacks this year, too. That doesn't sound right. He might, though. I don't know. I haven't even looked. I honestly haven't looked. I have no idea. Let's get some score predictions in the chat, though. Let's see what the people are talking about. I got to look. I got 2. Doesn't seem right. Or is it because he got paid during the year? Maybe you're saying, like, since he got paid. Maybe that's what that means. That would make more sense. Yeah, they got him with 10 sacks. So since he was paid, probably. That's probably what he's saying. 31-21. Hope I'm wrong. Run game better than Jumbo. We're going to see a lot of that. 34-21 Rams. 38-14. Dang. Hold up. If that's the strategy, we can lose by 24. Man, we got to change it up. If that's your strategy, you got to lose by 24. We got to do something different. Come on, man. That's a problem. You can't come in with that heat and then be like, man, but we lose it by 24. Nah, dude. You can't do that. You can't set me up like that. Like, man, this is how I would can't lose by 24. Oh, my gosh. 39-34, 28-17. You listen to our coaches and the players. Humility is the only a game away. Right. Like, this would be a big loss for them. Because then he faced Seattle next. Ooh. Yeah, this is a big one. 9% don't pressure the pass. Usually goes. I disagree. I thought he was super impactful last week. I mean, but it's also the element of they have to come together. Like, because if it doesn't affect the passer, it's not counted as a pressure. At least that's how we always started them. Like, if you just win, you don't get noted for a pressure. A pressure has to impact the quarterback. It has to, because the pressure either has to be a quarterback hit, a quarterback hurry, or a sack. It has to be one of the 3. If it's not one of the 3, it's not considered a pressure. So it has to technically impact the quarterback. Has to move him off a spot, hurry him. Has to do one of the 3, otherwise we wouldn't consider it pressure. It could be a win, but we never chart it. Oh, 2 sacks in this game. I got you. Oh, if he gets 2 sacks in this game, man, we cooking with grease, man. I'm with you though. Like, hey, set that number higher. Set the bar higher. 38-35 Lions again this week. Okay. Okay. Honestly though, like, what is the spread of this? Let me see what the spread is. Let me see. Rams favored by 6. Has that moved up? Rams favored by 6. See, this is different because usually I have a score when I come in. I didn't come in with a score on this one, so I gotta think of how I'm feeling right now. I think we're gonna come out throwing it. I think we're gonna get some explosives. We're gonna have some 3 and outs, which will keep the game longer, which will be good. It'll extend some time for us. I don't think they're gonna go 3 and out very much. I think we'll be super aggressive. We won't. I'd be surprised if we take any field goals. Just knowing Dan. It feels like it's gonna take 30 to get the job done, but maybe not. I'm going to go 30-27. Give me 30-27. Obviously, I'm taking the Lions to handle business. Give me 30-27. Do I like that? Yeah, I like that. I like that. That feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. I mean, we can rock with that. You know what I mean? It's going to be good. It's going to be some good. It's kind of one of those games where it's like, bro, just be in it at the end. Just be in it at the end. Give yourself the chance. If you can do that, we got a chance. I mean, that's, I don't know. Rams will drop 35 on us. No way. Hey, if they score 24, we win it. If they score 24, we got to win that football game. We have to win that game. Teams make schemes for Hutch. They count like they would Micah. All right, chat. I like it. I like it, man. Now we're gonna be back tomorrow. We got, we're gonna react to his live. It's gonna be great. Hope to see you there if we react live. I know I'm gonna be like fired up tomorrow. It's gonna be emotional, no doubt. It's gonna be an emotional stream, man. We need this one. we need this one, bro. But we'll be back tomorrow for that. I guess if anything pops up before then, we'll do it. But of course, we'll have a pregame show too. We'll do all that tomorrow. If you're just joining, feel free to run it back. We got right into it. So we broke it down from the Rams offense first to the Rams defense. It's good stuff. I'm going to leave it there, though. I think we're in a good spot. One of those teams will grow cold this game. They'll both drop 44 points last week. I hope you're right, bro. Well, hopefully it's not us. I mean, I kind of hope you're right, but Stafford will keep coming back, but Goff will have to do it. Man, this is a fire game, dude. Hey, anybody in the chat ever been to one of these, like Lions Rams, anywhere, like in SoFi or in Detroit? Any of y'all been to one of these matchups? I gotta believe the energy's crazy at one of these. This would be the one right here. This would be the one to go to. No, you're right on that. We should have some good crowd there. We should good crowd, good weather. You're right. No, you're right, Big Perm. Shout out to Big Perm also, man. Steven. Horns up, Rams, GG Pride, fired up, eat your grits. Ooh. Grits. I feel like I've never had grits, which is the crazy part. We got this. I like it. I like it. All right, we're going to get out of here, man. Have a great rest of your night. I think the Army-Navy game's going on, so maybe enjoy that. And I will see you guys tomorrow, man, for the game. That's it. I'm going to leave it there. I'll see y'all soon, man. Have a good night. We out. Plus or minus 200 yards after catch for Goff. Hopefully plus. Hey, man, I'll go plus. Give me plus on that. We're going to have a lot of checkdowns. Give me 340 in this game. He needs by 340 yards. Nah, wait, 200 is a lot. Maybe I should go under. Hopefully it's over. I don't know. I'm out.